Okay, fire away. You guys are all out there, so I'm sure instead of me giving you the obligatory wrap-up of practice, you probably have your own questions.
Brian, what do you have in Tony Jones at running back?
Well, I mean, he's 225 pounds, can catch the ball coming out of the backfield, uh, assignment correct, and, can run elusively and can get into the second level. So what does that equal? It's a pretty good back. Yeah, we're obviously he was noticeable today in his play. And, he got some work with the first group as well. He just wasn't getting second team reps. He's a good player. Yeah.
Brian, a lot of the former players when they're at Pro Day, the guys that are just leaving, and even Jonas Gray mentioned how impressed they were with the new strength and conditioning program. I'm curious, a third of the way through spring practice, how is that translating onto the field? Are there personnel? Is there personnel groups where you can see it?
I think everybody feels good about themselves. Certainly, there's that component of conditioning level where I thought that certainly the play and the way that we practiced deep into practice, showed a level of conditioning that was really good. So, all of those levels are what you're looking for. We ran the ball effectively. There was physicality out there, and there was great conditioning. So those are all, contributed to having the kind of strength and conditioning that you want from your football team. So certainly that showed itself in our practice today. It was a long practice, elongated a little bit because we went indoors, came outdoors, and then the way we finished practice with, some scripted reps as well as, the scrimmage. So that's where you see maybe if you're lagging a little bit in those areas, you get sloppy, guys get tired, people are on the ground. Didn't see much of that.
Kind of piggybacking on that question, some of the players yesterday were talking about how their first couple workouts with Matt, they were just like, there were guys throwing up more than maybe they had in the past. What have your observations been just kind of in those workouts?
Well, I had a plan going into the off season on how I wanted it to look. Matt is the director of football performance, but he has a staff, and I don't think that this is a one-man show anymore. This is a collaborative approach to strength and conditioning. Matt sets the tone down there. There's no question about it. He's got great relationships with the players. He clearly understands how important it is to build a positive relationship down there with the players while building that grit and that toughness, that mental toughness that you need. But Dave Ballou, Jake Flint, David Grimes in particular, have been there alongside him doing a great job. Dale's there, came in about a month later, but he's done an incredible job as well. And each one of them have a role. And I think collaboratively, they've all really done what I've asked them to do. And that is to build this football team from a mental and physical standpoint. Both of those were crucial. As we know, last year, 7 of our 8 games came down to the fourth quarter, and we lacked some of those components. And I think we've done a great job together in building that.
What happened to C.J. Holmes?
He separated his shoulder.
So is he out the rest of spring?
Probably. We'll get an MRI and know a little bit further on Monday. Once that calms down a little bit, we'll get a picture of that and see if he had that. He had a open repair on that same shoulder his sophomore year in high school. So we'll get an MRI on and see what that looks like, and then go from there. We'll see if we have to do any further work on it.
I know with Coach Elko, at Wake, they did a really good job of forcing turnovers.
Yeah.
And as you're going through spring and you have a new quarterback, obviously you don't want to see him turn the ball over, but how do you measure whether you're getting better in that area and the forcing turnovers and in terms of bringing pressure?
Well, I can tell we're already doing some things that we haven't done in the past that are going to be reaping benefits for us. Defensive line are going to be batting down balls. I think you're going to see guys stripping the football, getting the ball out. And you know, I think that those in particular are areas where you're going to start to see on the field more turnovers. It's a little bit more difficult when you're going against your own team. You don't want to pull somebody by the jersey and put them in a compromising position while they're running out, while you're trying to, you know, really punch the ball loose. But they're working on that in their individual periods, and it's being coached in the meetings, which I like the most. The thing you'll also see is that we're not jumping, we're not leaving our feet. You know, we're staying on our feet. We see it all the time in college football and the pros, guys leaving their feet and losing contain. I think just the fundamentals are being taught to a level where I know that we're gonna profit from that.
But you're third of the way through practice already. Kind of, how do you see that right side of the line kind of shaping up so far through that period?
Well, I think, you know, it's firmly established at the right guard position. I mean, that's, you know, Alex Bars is going to be the right guard. You know, I don't see that there's going to be any real change there. He was a starter for us last year, so it's the right tackle position that continues to be, you know, a competitive situation with Kramer and Eichenberger still working and splitting reps there. Each one of them is a little bit different. You know, Kramer at times a little bit more physical, Liam a little bit longer maybe. You know, longer, you know, translates itself into pass pro. Both of them, you know, still are on that learning curve, but both of them are really good players. You know, Robert Hainsey's had a really good spring. You know, he's a guy that you know, may find himself competing a little bit as well. He's really been probably the surprise for us of all the guys in his maturity, his ability to really pick up what we're doing, as well as from a fundamental technique standpoint. He's been really good. I'm not saying that he would unseat those guys, but he's worth, you know, mentioning because he's had such a good spring. So those two guys, Hainsey, you know, could be in the mix there too. They're still fighting it out for that right tackle position. And then, you know, Hunter Bivin is we've asked him to kind of give up some reps, but we're going to crank him back up next week and give him an opportunity to get in the mix as well.
I think Watkins missed a lot of football, obviously, this past year. He seems to have, I mean, maybe he's playing terrible when we're not here, but
no,
when we've
I
been
think
here,
your
he's played pretty well.
Are right.
What does it say about him to be able to kind of to get comfortable so quickly after missing so much football?
Yeah, I think Nick is playing with a lot of confidence. He's long. He's very coachable. He's a great kid, and really like the way he's competing out there. I think that the season off obviously was, you know, in a lot of ways disappointing, but I think he benefited greatly from that year to see it, to learn, and he's had a, you know, really terrific off season in the weight room, and you can see his transition out of his breaking on the ball, playing physical at the line of scrimmage. Nice to have him back. He really gives us a presence out there that we're starting to feel.
Brian, Dalen Hayes was a kid that, you know, didn't get a lot of playing time in high school because of injuries, and now it looks like, you know, first team reps, and you're investing a lot in him. What are you seeing from him? What are you hoping to see in him by the end of spring?
Well, the athleticism is what obviously stands out. He's extremely athletic. He's fit physically, you know, 250 pounds and you know, very strong. It's the football knowledge, learning the techniques at the position in which he plays is really the piece where it's just learning right now for him. And this is the time to do it in spring ball. You know, squeezing down on a tight end when the back's away, you know, wrong arming the puller. You know, these are all, you know, football terms and schemes that are a bit new to him. And so we have to be patient with him. He's an explosive athlete. There's going to be some mistakes along the way, and I'm okay with that as long as he's learning. Here's the great thing about it. He cares a lot, and he wants to get better. So we're going to live with some of the mistakes as long as he's the same kid every day, which he is, and he cares deeply about wanting to get better.
Explosive athletes, how close is Elizé Jones to being up to speed? Having missed, he's been gone for 15 months, I guess.
I think Chip's doing a terrific job with him. You know, he's got a good relationship. He knows how to, you know, rise him up when he needs to, and you know, scold him when he needs to. You know, and Elizé needs a little bit of that. But he's virtually uncoverable in certain areas of the field. I don't care at any level. I mean, you can't cover him. He's just has that kind of talent. And I think he's really, the one thing that I think that stands out to me in the few days is that he's committed himself to being a blocker and playing physical. If he continues to do that, you know, we're going to find ourselves, you know, with a lot of tight ends on the field.
And you're using him in that capacity, which
Sure.
you really didn't during his freshman year.
No, we didn't. Because it was so difficult for him to pick up what we were trying to do, Chip's done a really good job of getting him fully engaged in everything that we're doing, not just, hey, you're a wide receiver. No, you're gonna block for us, you're gonna be in on our boot game, our play action game, and you know, when we get into certain areas of the field, we'll line you up and get you matched up against a corner.
Harry seems like he's got an army down there. The Martins, Dylan Gibbons, Josh Lugg.
Harry, you guys don't know, Harry needs a lot of help. Harry needs a lot of help. You know, it's great to see those guys come back, you know, especially the Martin boys. And we immediately put them to work. Why not, right? Why wouldn't put an all-pro to work right away? But great to see them back, and, you know, I think more than anything else, it sends a message, the right message to all of our guys that, you know, we want to see you come back. You know, like Pro Day, a lot of guys came back. It's the kind of message that we want to keep promoting, that you're welcome to come back. We want to see you come back, and it's a good thing to promote.